Star Citizen 4.3 is definitely the smallest update so far this year, but as always, there are some noteworthy additions to the game. With 4.3 delivering some new PvE story-driven points of interest, a beautiful shiny new ship from Kruger, dynamic snow, new haircuts, new guns, gear, and ladder improvements? There's a little something for everyone. With that being said, while the cadence of new content continues to be commendable from CIG, I hope the previous month's additions are not forgotten, some of which could really do with some of that stability and playability they promised for 2025. Either way, in this video in the series, just like my other feature breakdown videos, I'll guide you through everything you need to know about 4.3, as well as some of the things you might have missed that you'll want to stick around to the end to see. The new Onyx Facilities are an atmospheric gameplay continuation of the ASD and Regen Crisis narrative, which began earlier this year, alongside CIG's push for content in 2025 in place of new features. In 4.3, we have the first two wings of the Onyx Facilities, with a third wing and final chapter of this storyline following in a 4.3.x patch. The general belief among backers is that these facilities were originally designed to be instanced for cooperative play, which makes sense when you begin to explore their more narrative and puzzle-focused design. Instancing in this case likely wasn't ready yet, so instead CIG has added over 100 of these facilities to Stanton's moons. This also comes with a new mission distribution update, aiming to spread out players and their missions more carefully, giving a more solo or co-op oriented experience with less chance for unwanted interactions with other players, aka PvP. This mission distribution update is also tied into hauling and Wikelo contracts for now. Your entry point to the otherwise unmarked facilities comes through Archon Malor, a brand new mission giver tied to the Hokro agency. Malor contracts players to break into and investigate these facilities to salvage data as you begin to unravel the ASD mystery, particularly surrounding Logan Jorrit, a name first encountered during the 4.2 Stormbreaker update. Once you accept a contract under the Investigation tab, you'll receive directions to one of the facilities. To gain access, you need to contact ATC before landing in one of two large hangars. Do not bring anything requiring an XL hangar. They won't fit, and these hangars are the only way in. Inside the hangar is a freight elevator you can use to store items, as well as a local inventory. These inventories are not connected between facilities or your home inventory, so use them wisely. The lobby of the facility also contains a med bay, useful for healing injuries, but you cannot regenerate here, aka respawn. If you die in Onyx, you'll return to your last regen point. Logging out here is possible, and the game will return you to the med bay upon logging back in, but in my experience, logging out mid-mission cancels the mission entirely, forcing you to start over. The initial Onyx missions are fairly basic, revolving around go here, download this, retrieve this, and repeat as you move through the halls, levels, and threats of each facility. One mission does require a multi-tool, repair cambio attachment, and salvage material, all of which can be found inside or crafted at the basic terminals, so even if you don't bring supplies, all is not lost. There are 4 main missions across the 2 wings: engineering and research. They must be completed in succession before unlocking all 4 as permanently available and repeatable investigation missions, rewarding AUEC and ASD drives which go back to your local LZ inventory and can be traded with Wikelo later on. Once you've cleared the intro mission, additional mercenary and hauling missions will also become available, with some requiring completion of their respective intro mission for the ASD variants to show up, such as the Red Wind Hauling Services contracts, which take you to the ASD facilities. The research wing is scattered with laboratories, offices, and computers, with evidence of strange experiments gone wrong. It gave me strong Ridley Scott alien vibes, complete with irradiated dogs scuffing their way around in vents. The engineering wing is very different, and in my opinion, the coolest wing. Filled with broken systems, jump challenges, EVA sections, and radiation leaks. A large radiation surge pumps roughly every 30 seconds, and if you're caught twice, you'll instantly die, so use physical cover carefully to survive. If you're a loot goblin, you'll probably spend time hunting down the new ASD Geist stealth suit, hidden in special orange boxes deeper in both wings. The suits come in a range of colours, stealth not currently included, but the black ASD stealth suit is by far the rarest and hardest to find. I've run over 20 facilities and haven't found a single piece. If you do manage to acquire one, you can either keep it or exchange it with Wikelo for a white, snow-themed version along with a few other trades. That info can be found in Chris GBG's Wikelo reference sheet, which I'll link below. Personally, I really hope these stealth suits become a requirement for future stealth content, because I'll need more motivation if I'm going to keep grinding these facilities beyond the initial contracts. CIG has always been good at nailing environments and atmosphere, and the level design of the Onyx Facilities looks and feels brilliant, but for me, the challenge and variety of threats is currently lacking. Without going off on too much of a tangent here, I think these facilities would really benefit from being instanced, giving more consistent, challenging NPC encounters without the risk of someone having just run through 5 minutes before you. Right now, the missions feel like preliminary steps to get us exploring the facilities, with more engaging content and a narrative finale planned for later on. But unless NPCs, hazards, and puzzles improve in challenge and variety, we risk ending up with another visually stunning location that feels hollow after a few runs. But that's a bigger topic for another video. Inside the Onyx Facilities, you'll also find the new VOLT laser sniper Zenith Rifle, a hybrid weapon that blends the power of a charged sniper shot, like the arrowhead, with the rapid fire of a marksman rifle. The automatic hold to charge the shot for increased damage is a nice touch, but it comes at the cost of noise, audible to nearby hostiles. The rifle comes with a sweet scope with integrated charge and heat tracking, letting you monitor and manage weapon heat. Should you overheat, the weapon will be temporarily disabled. I personally find this incredibly annoying, as you're forced to endure the overheated animation without being able to swap to a different weapon until it's played out. The damage of this weapon is high, but in certain climates it will overheat incredibly fast. It works well as a DMR style rifle, but its heat management, noise, and lack of muzzle attachments makes it less than ideal as a sniper in my opinion. The Kruger L21 has landed in Star Citizen 4.3, and it's immediately clear why it stands apart from the rest of the light fighter class as a third ship in the Kruger manufacturer lineup. Its design borrows heavily from retro World War II aircraft silhouettes such as the P-52, and there is some clear inspiration from the Naboo starfighter in Star Wars Phantom Menace, which is one of the reasons I really like it. As well as, I'm told, a ship from the Cowboy Bebop anime, which I'm less familiar with. The clean, swooping surfaces, short tail, and exposed engine piping gives the ship some real character and a feeling of raw, retro sports car, Aston Martin-y style power, in my opinion. Inside the cockpit, pilots get excellent visibility all round, with a distinctive dash and even a built-in clock for keeping track of server time. There's some contention over the exterior fin, but I personally really like it. It adds unique character to the ship and sets it apart from a more classical shape and look. With that being said, CIG has already confirmed they're working on a way to allow you to retract it during flight and not only when deploying landing gear. Being a light fighter, the ship is fast with a 1225 ms top nav speed, which is pretty high for light fighters, and a 510 SCM top speed when boosted. It's nimble and responsive and comparable to an Aegis Gladius, but it is fragile, and if you're going to take it into combat, you'll need to make use of its smaller profile to avoid taking hits, rather than relying on its 2 size 1 shields and low effective health pool. The 2 bespoke size 4 Gatling guns do limit the ship's capabilities in long fights or for long-term PvE applications due to the ballistic expense, but paired with this ship's small size and agility, I can see the L21 Wolf being useful for picking apart heavy fighters and turrets and components attached to larger craft before spending its payload. The 8 size 1 missile slots, beautifully nestled inside the wings, also provide additional ordnance for dealing with enemy fighters. Overall, as someone who normally opts for the uglier, asymmetrical, utilitarian-looking ships, this is the first pretty ship, let's say, that I genuinely like. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Alpha 4.3 introduces dynamic snow to select locations using the same system that powers dynamic rain, which arrived and I also covered in 4.2. Snowfall now appears based on real-time weather conditions, adding both visual immersion and later, hopefully, some gameplay depth. Currently, you'll be able to experience dynamic snow on Microtech and Bloom, with new cloud cover added to the poles of Bloom, which is where you can go and see it. This update continues CIG's push towards more reactive and immersive planetary environments, giving players a sense of living, changing worlds. But this is something I expect will be experienced more by players when we have more reason to explore and later build things planetside.
Christ.
We're day 3 into 4.3 and this is what we're already resorting to. Punching a quasi-grazer in the balls. They've finally done it. Alpha 4.3 expands ladder mechanics across ships and environments, improving player movement and interactions with this previously frustrating environmental element. No more should ladders stalk and harass you with unwanted advances. With more complex interiors and environments moving forward, ladder functionality needed an upgrade. Although I wouldn't say it was there yet. Key updates to this feature include the ability to look around while climbing, rotate 180 degrees while moving, and 355 degrees when stationary. You can now access ladders at multiple points instead of just the base or top. You can also jump off the ladder in a chosen direction or lean, possibly for dodging debris or environmental hazards while climbing. I expect we might see some of this in Squadron 42. An FPS camera entry requirement helps make using ladders more precise. No longer will you be sucked into a ladder when passing it by. Mostly. This part feels kind of off still. I feel like I'd need this to be an option to turn off and on so that glancing at a ladder while too close doesn't automatically suck me onto it. Alpha 4.3 has finally also introduced a nice quality of life update we should have got in 4.0 in January. For players logging in at their starting locations, players now spawn directly into their personal instanced hangar. Previously, even at your home base, you would spawn in the HABS area, requiring travel through the tedious transit systems. I would personally like to see options for the player to choose when spawning at a home location, whether that be your hangar or easy hab, depending on your goals for that day. This change only applies to your originally set home hangar. Other locations, such as truck stops and stations, will still spawn you in the HABs. Still, the immediate access to your ships and personal storage means less downtime when spawning at your home location, and may make repeated spawns here more enticing. There's been a flight characteristics pass on light fighters, particularly the Aegis Gladius and its variants, Anvil Arrow, Anvil Hawk, Banu Defender, Esperia Talon and Shrike, Vandal Blade, the K2 Owl and Mustang variants. Following the previous tuning updates for heavy and medium fighters in 4.1 and 4.2, CIG is now focusing on the light fighter range. SCM and nav speeds have been readjusted for most of the ships, introducing a little bit more variation between the various light fighters. Linear and angular acceleration has also been tweaked, giving each ship a more distinct feel in combat relative to their style and construction. Health pools and critical sections have also been adjusted on some ships for better balance in combat. Most notably, the Aegis Gladius now has a single critical hit point in the body, removing the additional nose HP that was present since 3.23. Some other more specific ship updates include the Anvil Hawk, which has had its wing and body HP increased dramatically, which should really improve its survivability. The Esperia Talon and Shrike have had their angular speeds and acceleration tweaked, with adjustments to their cross-section emissions, which may improve their stealth capabilities. The Vandal Blade has had its previous capacitor buff slightly reduced after player feedback, and the K2 Owl has had its wingtip bug fixed, where destruction previously gave pilots a weird flight advantage in maneuverability. Small additions now. Wikelo has had extensive reward additions and requirement updates with the inclusion of some new Wikelo-style ships, including the Misk Starlance Attack, exclusive to Wikelo, the Drake Golem, and the Anvil Terrapin Medic variant. They've also added a snow camo variant of the Zenith Sniper Rifle and the snowy ASD Geist Stealth Suit as previously mentioned. Wikelo now also wants ASD drives, which are rewards for completing the Onyx Facility missions, as previously mentioned earlier in the video. I'll link Chris GBG's Wikelo trade requirements reference sheet below so you can see how and what you need to earn them. Max inventory storage of cargo has been increased to 5,000 SKU at landing zones and space stations. Pressing charges automatically has been added to the game options screen. The altimeter will now show you your current altitude in a much more readable manner. New ships have been added to in-game shops: Drake Golem, Misk Fortune, Mirai Guardian, and the F7CS Hornet Ghost Mark II, all of which can be bought at New Deal on Lawville. And finally, 3 new hairstyles have been added to the character creator. This includes 2 short and 1 medium length style, apparently. I don't use the character creator enough to actually know which 3 new hairstyles have been implemented, so if you're a character creator extraordinaire, have fun finding those. Sorry. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemeats. I hope you found this video useful, whether you've been following the project closely or returning after a long hiatus. Let me know in the comments below, and also let me know if I missed anything too. A huge thank you to my meaty members whose extracurricular support is such a huge help in allowing me to dedicate the time it takes to make these videos for you to enjoy. If you'd like to support me, consider supporting me through my Fourth Wall website at itsdetox.com, where you can pick up some sweet merch or become one of my meaty members, through YouTube memberships right here on YouTube. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.